Right? Addie with a D.
She was only 33. No warning. No farewell post. Just a quiet headline. Kelley Mack, the actress many knew as Addie from The Walking Dead, was gone. Gone, just like that. It didn't take long for the news to spread. A few lines in an article. A photo. A short caption. But behind those words was a life. A story filled with ambition, hope, struggle, and silence. For fans of The Walking Dead, her face brought familiarity. She wasn't the lead. She wasn't there from season 1. But when she appeared, she mattered. She brought depth to a show already full of chaos and survival. She made Addie real. And in just a few episodes, she left an impression that stuck. But Kelley's story didn't begin or end with that role. Behind the scenes, Kelley was chasing something much harder to capture than a role on TV. She was chasing stability, recognition, a chance to keep going. Not in fame, but in consistency, in work, in meaning. And that's what makes her death so heavy. Because what happened to Kelley Mack says something about this industry. About us. About the cost of dreaming quietly. She was only 33. No warning. No farewell post. Just a quiet headline. Kelley Mack, the actress many knew as Addie from The Walking Dead, was gone. Gone, just like that. It didn't take long for the news to spread. A few lines in an article. A photo. A short caption. But behind those words was a life. A story filled with ambition, hope, struggle, and silence. For fans of The Walking Dead, her face brought familiarity. She wasn't the lead. She wasn't there from season 1. But when she appeared, she mattered. She brought depth to a show already full of chaos and survival. She made Addie real. And in just a few episodes, she left an impression that stuck. But Kelley's story didn't begin or end with that role. Behind the scenes, Kelley was chasing something much harder to capture than a role on TV. She was chasing stability, recognition, a chance to keep going. Not in fame, but in consistency, in work, in meaning. And that's what makes her death so heavy. Because what happened to Kelley Mack says something about this industry. About us. About the cost of dreaming quietly. Before the fame, before The Walking Dead, Kelley Mack was just a girl from Cincinnati, Ohio, raised in a typical American suburb. No scandals, no privilege, just talent, drive, and a dream. She wasn't from a Hollywood family. She didn't have famous parents, connections, or a shortcut. Everything she built from scratch. And she didn't just act. She wrote, directed, edited. A creator in the true sense of the word. In 2016, she released a short film called The Elephant in the Room. It was raw, real, honest. She wrote it, produced it, and even acted in it. And for a moment, the spotlight found her. The film won multiple awards. And it wasn't because of fancy visuals. It was because the story felt true. That's what made Kelley different. She didn't chase attention. She created from the gut. She loved what she did. But she hated the noise around it. The social media grind. The fake smiles. The need to pretend like everything was always going great. But things weren't always great. Far from it. Hollywood rewards noise. Not talent. Not discipline. Not integrity. It rewards buzz, controversy, followers. And Kelley didn't fit that mold. She wasn't loud. She wasn't polarizing. She wasn't selling scandal or chasing likes. She just worked. Audition after audition. Role after role. Taking what came. Waiting for that one big break that might lead to another. And another. And maybe, someday, enough to call it a career. But the truth is, for actors like her, it's rarely enough. You can appear in a hit show and still struggle to pay rent. You can walk a red carpet on Friday and be jobless on Monday. Kelley was open about the emotional toll. Not in public interviews. Not on Twitter. But in her work. In the short films she made. In the roles she chose. You could feel it. That hunger. That ache. That question actors rarely say out loud. Am I good enough? Will anyone ever really see me? She kept going. Until one day, she didn't. Her final role wasn't in a blockbuster. It wasn't in a high-budget series with millions watching. It was in an independent project, low profile, barely noticed by the media. But it meant something to her. Because it was a story that mattered. It was quiet. Emotional. Complex. Just like her. She poured herself into it. Not for money. Not for fame. But because creating gave her purpose. After the shoot, she disappeared from the spotlight. No big announcement. No farewell post. Just silence. For months, nothing. No red carpets. No interviews. Her social media stopped. No cryptic stories. No TikToks. Just gone. Fans noticed. Some thought she was rebranding. Some thought she was working on something huge and secret. No one imagined the truth. Behind that silence, something was happening. Something she never spoke about publicly. Something that now, we may never fully understand. The hardest part about quiet people disappearing is that no one notices until it's too late. Kelley's silence wasn't loud. It wasn't filled with warning signs or goodbye notes. It was soft, invisible, the kind of quiet you only understand in hindsight. Friends said she was taking time. Family said she was resting. She was always a private person, so nobody panicked. But in truth, she was drifting. Mentally, emotionally, maybe even physically. She wasn't posting, wasn't promoting, wasn't chasing roles. She had stepped back from a world that never really held her. And that's when it happened. The news broke like a whisper. No headlines. No front-page banners. Just a few online obituaries. And confusion. Kelley Mack, dead at 33. No official cause of death. No explanation. Just gone. Just like that. Here's the truth. We don't know how she died. There's no official statement. No medical report released. No confirmation from close friends or family. And that silence says a lot. Some say it was sudden. Others say she had been struggling privately for years. But no one's gone on record. No one's shared details. And maybe they never will. That's how Kelley lived. And apparently, how she left. Quietly. Some outlets speculated. Whispers of health issues. Whispers of depression. Whispers of burnout. But that's all they were, whispers. Rumors. Speculation. Nothing solid. And in the absence of facts, people fill in blanks. Some respectfully. Others not so much. But here's what we do know. She left behind a small but powerful body of work. She touched people through a screen. Even if she never knew how deeply. She tried. Hard. Even when no one was watching. Especially then. And maybe, that's what makes this loss hit harder. This wasn't a scandal. This wasn't a headline grab. There were no paparazzi chasing the story. No chaos. No drama. Just silence. And that's exactly what makes it feel so heavy. Because Kelley Mack wasn't a tabloid name. She wasn't trending every week. She wasn't trying to break the internet. She was just real. And maybe that's why people felt so connected to her. She didn't pretend to be larger than life. She didn't try to outshine anyone. She stayed in her lane, did her work, and disappeared into the roles. When she played Addie in The Walking Dead, she wasn't the loudest character. She wasn't the flashiest. But she was memorable. She had that quiet weight. The kind that stays with you. And when people heard she passed, it felt personal. Not because she was everywhere, but because she felt like someone you knew. Someone who was still figuring it out. Still trying. Still becoming. And now she's gone. Kelley's story is not just about one person. It's about the system. The pressure. The silence behind the spotlight. Hollywood loves to celebrate the rise. The big break. The viral moment. But what about the in-between? The years where nothing's happening. Where roles dry up. Where people forget your name, even if they once knew it. Kelley wasn't the only one living in that space. That gray area between fame and obscurity. It's where a lot of actors live. And where too many fade away. Behind every smiling red carpet photo, there's uncertainty, doubt, loneliness, the auditions that go nowhere, the callbacks that never come, the silence from agents, the slow erosion of confidence. And yet, most never talk about it. Because in that world, admitting struggle feels like failure. Kelley didn't speak publicly about mental health. But maybe she didn't need to. Her absence was loud enough. When the news broke, fans didn't just scroll past. They stopped. They asked questions. They searched for answers that weren't there. Because something about it didn't feel right. Didn't feel finished. People went back to old interviews. Old clips. Photos. Trying to read between the lines. Trying to find signs they might have missed. In comment sections, fans began opening up. Sharing how much Kelley's performances meant to them. How her portrayal of Addie helped them through their own darkness. How her authenticity gave them comfort. And then, silence again. The kind that makes you realize how easy it is to overlook someone until they're gone. It wasn't just grief. It was confusion. A collective feeling of, wait, what happened? And in the absence of answers, people began building their own. Kelley Mack didn't have a Hollywood empire. She didn't have millions of followers. She didn't need any of that to make an impact. Her life wasn't built on scandals or headlines. It was built on quiet strength, on persistence, on showing up, She was proof that you don't need to be loud to matter. That doing your best, even when no one's watching, still counts. That being kind, humble, and focused still has value. There's something powerful in that. Because in a world that rewards the loudest voices, the flashiest personalities, the most viral moments, she reminded people that it's okay to move differently, that it's okay to take your time, to not be perfect, to not have it all figured out. And even though her story ended too soon, it left something behind, a quiet legacy, not made of awards or fame, but of something more rare, realness. Even after Kelley's passing, her presence lingers, in the hearts of those who saw her work, in the memories of friends and colleagues, in the questions her death raises about the industry. Her story is a reminder. Behind every face on screen, there's a human being fighting battles we don't always see. It's a call to look deeper, to listen closer, to value people for more than just their public image. Kelley's absence echoes because it's a silence filled with things left unsaid, dreams unfulfilled, stories untold, potential never fully realized. Her death asks us to reconsider how we treat artists, how we support those chasing dreams in the shadows, and how we respond when someone quietly disappears. Kelley Mack's story is more than just a headline. It's a reflection of the hidden struggles behind the glamour, a reminder that fame is fragile and success isn't always what it seems. Her journey shows us the cost of chasing a dream in an unforgiving industry, the loneliness, the pressure, the silence. But it also shows us the power of perseverance, of staying true to yourself, even when the world looks away. As we remember Kelley, let's honor not just the role she played, but the person she was, the realness she brought to her craft, the courage it took to keep going. Her story is a call for compassion, for awareness, for change, because behind every actor, every artist, every dreamer, there is a life worth seeing, hearing, and valuing. Thank you for listening to Kelley Mack's story. If it moved you, share it. Keep her memory alive. And above all, remember, we all deserve to be seen.